Spell Snare, which is a bit of an interesting choice. Rest of the list fairly straightforward. Ooh, we also shaved the Force Will, which we've seen a couple of bug decks do, a couple of Esper Stoneblade decks doing it as well, but less common there. And that's pretty much it. Pretty stock deck list.
Michael Bryant side, he's playing Jund, a deck that Josh Ravitz actually wrote about on Star City a couple days ago. That article is still on the homepage for you guys if you'd like to read it. Just about why Ravitz chose to play it, the benefits of that, and some of its weaknesses. The weakness of Jund, of course, is combo decks, but those aren't really a big deal right now. Yeah. So, as a result, if you're able to play against a deck like Esper Stoneblade, you're probably going to be doing okay. As you see, Michael is going to sacrifice a Bloodstained Mire here. Dark Confidant, Deathrite Shaman, Tarmogoyf, and Bloodbraid Elf are the creatures of choice. Of course, you're going to find your Abrupt Decays, your Hymnothorax, a couple Lightning Bolts, 4 Liliana the Veil, a card that Esper Stoneblade has a huge problem with if it does resolve, to go along with a handful of Thoughtseizes, 3 copies of Punishing Fire, and then a couple Singletons in Life from the Loam, Maelstrom Pulse, and Sylvan Library.
Yeah, the discard is very, very good against Esper Stoneblade. It needs to hit a lot of land drops and have a lot of spells, so the Hymn is very good. It has, a 2-for-1 myself in Force of Will, and the targeted discard can be cast after the Stoneforge Mystic, taking the equipment that it found. There's also a lot to be said about punishing fire against Stoneforge Mystic, as the creatures are 1 Vendilion Click, 3 Snapcaster Mage, 4 Stoneforge Mystic, and the 4/4 Germ on Batterskull.
Yeah, all things that Punishing Fire can take down rather easily.
Yes.
As we did see a Dark Confidant there from Michael, Swords of Plowshare is going to take care of that right away, and then Andrew is going to play a main phase Vendilion Click and get his information right away instead of getting cutesy-wootsy.
Is it a main phase? Looks like it might be a draw step.
I apologize. I thought he was tapping out, but Punishing Fire, there it is. So never mind.
Maybe he should have main phase.
I thought that was a main phase one. I mean, draw step is obviously more common, as you're going to see another Dark Confidant, a Deathrite Shaman, a Liliana the Veil, a Abrupt Decay, and a Verdant Catacombs.
Pretty good hand.
AJ, you don't know Andrew's hand, but what do you take if you take anything?
Well, I mean, if he doesn't have a removal spell, you have to take Dark Confidant. It's the scariest card, pretty much ever. And Liliana the Veil is also quite scary. Abrupt Decay, pretty irrelevant. Deathrite Shaman, not the biggest threat. Depending on the texture of Andrew's hand, I have to say it's either Dark Confidant or Liliana the Veil.
All right, now you know Andrew's hand because you can see it. 2 Force of Wills, a Brainstorm, and a Polluted Delta.
Not a good hand against Jund, but I think you take Dark Confidant and then prepare to Force of Will the Liliana. Bite the bullet there.
And you say no fear of the Deathrite Shaman here, correct?
Yeah, not the scariest, not the biggest clock. Andrew isn't like leaning on a Snapcaster Mage yet. Yeah, there are more answers to that, and you have more time. Dark Confidant, you need to answer immediately. Liliana the Veil, you need to answer before it even hits play.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're getting value. But Deathrite Shaman, I mean, it's getting value in that it's sort of minimizing the value of your later Snapcasters a bit. It's pretty marginal value. Really, it's just 1 to 2 a turn, and that's a clock that's not that threat.
All right, well, you do see a fetch, and you are going to see the Deathrite Shaman, so I don't know if this is the first time we've seen Deathrite Shaman today, but we haven't seen much of it this weekend.
An Elves player cast it earlier right before they died to an ad nauseum. Does that count?
I mean, it counts to the fact that it was cast and we did see one.
Yes.
That's about all it counts for.
Counterspell proper drawn from Andrew there. Now he doesn't have to 2-for-1 himself to answer that Liliana the Veil. Pretty big, actually. Brainstorm also with the fetch land. Would not be surprised to see him shuffle those Force Wills away. They are that bad. He's close to 5 mana where he can cast them as, just counterspells, super expensive counterspells. But 2-for-1ing yourself against the Jund deck that's just trying to attrition you down is definitely not where you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they want to have happen anyway.
Exactly.
So, with cards like Hymnothorax in their deck, that's obviously the goal of their deck.
I love Andrew not brainstorming there. Can I just say that? The patience, the discipline. I'm all about it.
Yeah, it's your forte.
It is. It's my thing. And Andrew, a player I've played against a couple times, he's definitely got a head on his shoulders, and that play made me quite happy, Cedric.
Well, how about this Tarmogoyf? Jerk Store? What do you think about this?
Jerk Store has been declared.
Does that make you happy?
Well, Batterskull's a pretty mediocre draw, but yeah, still gonna wait. Like, you don't want to shuffle the Batterskull away. You don't want to 2-for-1 yourself on a Tarmogoyf that you can pretty easily 1-for-1 with, say, a Sword of Plowshares. I like just waiting. You're at 19 life. Be patient. Draw an extra card. Now you can brainstorm. You have way more information. You're getting a card deeper. Much more rewarding brainstorm there.
So you do see Engineered Explosives along with a Flooded Strand and an Islander, the cards that are drawn from Brainstorm. The other contents of Andrew's hand is he's going to try to figure things out. Here are 2 Force of Wills and a Batterskull. So he's going to put a couple cards back here. Now keep in mind that Michael on the left does still have that Abrupt Decay in hand, so he can take care of that Germ Token, which is a momentary reprieve from Batterskull. You know, certainly not a permanent one, but with Batterskull having to be bounced back to the hand and the recast again, that does take a little bit of while, and then takes most of the mana for the turn as well. So there's something to keep in mind.
As I was saying, with you know, having access to 1-for-1s on Tarmogoyf, Engineered Explosive does do exactly that. So he didn't have to 2-for-1 himself, and he still has his Force of Will. Choosing not to use his explosives yet, though. Maybe trying to bait Michael Bryant into playing another 2-drop. The 2-drops are quite powerful. The Tarmogoyfs and the Dark Confidants, very threatening. Andrew using his life total as a resource, going to take a hit to try and bait Michael into playing another 2-drop creature.
Oof, Wasteland here. Looks like it's going to target that Tundra. So we'll leave Andrew momentarily without a white source. Obviously, Polluted Delta in play. Other Tundras looming in Andrew's deck.
He also had Brainstorm 2 lands on top, and since he didn't Engineer Explosives, he didn't have to crack his fetch. So if he so chooses, he can just not crack his fetch and draw another land back up to 5 if Batterskull is his plan.
Now we're going to get the Tarmogoyf dies out here to make sure we know exactly how large that bad boy is, and it is a 4/5, and it's coming across. You know, it just makes you wonder, he does have 2 Force Wills in his hand now. You know, maybe fighting over the Tarmogoyf for a Force of Will, removing Force of Will, you know, you don't want to end the game with those in your hand. Now, I'm not saying the Tarmogoyf's the right thing to use it on, and as you expressed that he is being patient and using his life total as a resource, but a 4/5 is a little bit scary.
It is, but there are definitely more threatening things from the Jund deck, such as the Liliana, such as the Dark Confidant, things that get significant advantages, whereas Tarmogoyf, you know, it's way easier to use your life total as a resource against Tarmogoyf. Tarmogoyf only really fights on that axis, and as I was pondering, Andrew does indeed choose not to crack his Delta, draw the land he put on top as he got wastelanded, and now is time for the Engineered Explosives.
And we are going to see Deathrite Shaman start to pick away yet again here. Looks like it is going to remove a instant or sorcery card and deal Andrew 2 more points of damage. So Michael is starting to, you know, work away at that life total. And we'll confirm that is the correct life total there on the screen for Andrew, because it looks like he's already taken a hit from a Tarmogoyf as well. Engineer Explosive is going to blow up Tarmogoyf now. And we'll see if Michael can actually cobble anything together. Looks like he's trying to... A Thought Seize, okay.
Yeah, I mean, get the Batterskull, it's kind of good, but... Ooh, Andrew actually thinking of fighting over this. The problem with this line is you're fairly all in on the Batterskull if you Force Will here.
Yes.
If you just let the Thoughtseize resolve, Michael pretty much has to take the Batterskull. You're not under the most pressure. Wow, he is doing it. I was going to say, and you can just hard cast your Force of Wills over the next couple turns and not 2-for-1 yourself. But force your Thoughtseize, removing Force. Michael's got to know that that last card is pretty good.
So just another Deathrite Shaman joins the party. And Michael does just pass the turn back, so maybe it is going to be Batterskull time. He's going to sacrifice the Delta on the upkeep.
Yep. Shuffle away that Flooded Strand he put on top. Doesn't need that. He's got the 5 he needs for the Batterskull. He didn't crack it on his turn. You know, he wanted to make sure he wasn't getting wastelanded again. If so, he did want to draw that Flooded Strand. But now, 5 is all he needs. And I have to say that pretty much regardless of what he draws, we're likely going to see a Batterskull here.
So Andrew will present to Michael. Michael will take a quick cut, and we'll see what Andrew is able to draw into this turn. and it is an Academy Ruins.
That is
Which
an
is
interesting one.
I mean, that's actually pretty darn good right now.
There is an Engineered Explosives in the yard and 2 1-drops in play, and conveniently, Academy Ruins itself, 2 lands to play it, or 2 lands to activate it, 1 for Engineered Explosives, and 2 to activate it. That's 6.
Dream come true. It's making Magic look really easy right now.
Quite convenient indeed.
But he does not play the Academy Ruins. How do you feel about that?
Very poorly. I am very shocked by that. I think that, upkeep Academy Ruins, your Engineered Explosives, kill the 2 Deathrite Shamans is a great line. I'm not sure what Andrew is trying to threaten here.
Worst case scenario here to me is if Michael were to draw to Liliana that turn and tick it up, that's a complete disaster.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Or a Hymn to Torok tagging it is not quite as bad, but pretty bad. And the Batterskull Germ is going to be Abrupt Decayed before getting the lifelink, and that makes the 2 Deathrite Shaman activations, 1 each on each of the turns, lethal.
Well, we do see Jace the Mind Sculptor is actually the draw here for Andrew this turn, so it's not quite over just yet. And the one thing to also keep in mind is that he is going to move up to 8 life from Grove of the Burnwillow. Still going to be lethal.
Yes, yeah.
It doesn't change the math at all.
This Jace is actually, like Andrew, to prevent himself from dying, has to play Jace and bounce a Deathrite.
Yeah. Whereas if he would have just played that Academy Ruins, as you said, get back the... Actually, it's funny that the mana worked out perfectly for it, and I think, he tried to hold that card because you do see a lot of people just hold lands, but there's a time and a place to hold lands.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Michael's not going to be bluffed. He's not going to play differently because of the card that you drew off of the top of your deck is in your hand, He doesn't have that type of luxury. It's not that type of dynamic game where each player has a bunch of resources and you have to try to figure out, what's going on and play around stuff. I mean, it's a grind fest, It's a top deck board. We've reached that late point in the game, and you're under a lot of pressure as Andrew. I don't think that that is the right time to try and represent something.
Well, Jace the Mind Sculptor is going to try to save Andrew here, and if there's one card that can save you, this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, one of the scariest cards to face pretty much in all of Magic history.
Yes, as you are going to see it bounce the Deathrite Shaman. Deathrite Shaman activation will remove an instant or sorcery. It's going to knock Andrew down to 6.
Likely going to 8 on the end step from the other Deathrite Shaman. Or, I'm sorry, 4. The other way.
Yes.
And...
Other thing to keep in mind here, too, AJ, is that Michael does have a Punishing Fire in this graveyard and actually did draw the Grove of the Burnwillow, so we saw the Punishing Fire on the Vendilion click.
Yes.
So he actually can take care of Jace if he wants to as well, so Andrew is in a bit of trouble here.
And once again, the mana working out quite conveniently. Grove, get back Punishing Fire, cast Punishing Fire, cast Deathrite, activate the other Deathrite. Perfect. Maximizing the mana.
Let's see if he sees it.
Indeed, indeed.
We see a Grove coming back. Andrew's going to move to 5. Now you're going to see
Target
Punishing
you,
Fire.
redirect.
Take care of Jace. Get that guy out of here.
And actually, you don't cast the other Deathrite because of the Academy Ruins.
Yeah, I don't think you have much of a reason to. And he does just pass the turn. Andrew currently sitting at 5 life now. And we'll see if he does not bring back that Engineered Explosives.
Well, with Punishing Grove, that is lethal next turn. 2 on the end step. Gain 1, 2 more, and 2 from the Deathrite. That's Xaxes.
We'll see if they come to the same conclusion that you have, but it does look like it's going to be lethal. And maybe this might be a situation, and this has happened to me before when playing Magic, that he just maybe forgot that he has Engineered Explosives in the graveyard.
Yeah, it's very possible. It's also possible that he thought he was completely all in on Batterskull, and when his Germ got killed, he was just like, oh man, I hope I draw something.
Yeah.
Not thinking through, okay, what do I still have access to?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because Academy Ruins was almost that turn the perfect draw.
Yeah, it was a very, very nice draw. The mana worked out perfectly. The 2-for-1, removing the threats. You have plenty of time to then bounce and recast your Batterskull, get out of burn range. Unfortunately, Andrew couldn't put the pieces together in time, and now is facing lethal.
So Batter Skull is going to be returned here by Andrew, and we're assuming that there is another instant or sorcery in one of those players' graveyards for the Deathrite Shaman. Of course, if there wasn't, I think we would have seen Michael attack. So
he can just use the Punishing Fire.
Sure. He can just return the Punishing Fire, punish him, and then remove it.
Yeah,
sure. Now you're going to see Academy Ruins here, and this is where you make your move.
Yes, you can have literally nothing. I guess days, but get back, Punishing Fire, punish you, and Andrew is getting punished.
Yes, he is.
That is an appropriate flavor right there.
And we will see a concession. So Michael did find the missing piece to the puzzle there, and is able to take down Andrew Tenjum. Jund up a game here against Esper Stoneblade.
Very interesting game. Jund, okay, so Jund is basically a deck designed to get to exactly that game state where both players have nothing, but Jund is way up on life and has a clock.
Yep.
Right? That is the ultimate game plan of the deck. Use a bunch of kind of crappy 2-for-1s, to grind the opponent into that state where both players have nothing, and then just kind of play top deck mode where you have more 2-for-1s and a clock and a life advantage.
And hopefully you dodge an opponent drawing a Jason Mind Sculptor or a Brainstorm.
Or a Batter Skull, or
It seems like
or an Academy Ruins to kill both of your threats, or
it's like a rock deck, honestly, where you kind of shred their hand and get yourself in a little bit of a favorable position. You're not dramatically ahead, but a little bit, and
right.
enough, and you hope that your draws are better than theirs. And when you're playing against a blue deck, you do have to bob and weave and fade a little bit. And it looks like he was able to do that well enough.
Right. So he created the game state that Jund wants, like in an ideal world. That is the end goal of the Jund deck. Then he got outdrawn, and Andrew created this game plan based around the Batter Skull. He invested a lot of resources. He drew his 5th land that is otherwise a completely dead card, just to cast his Batter Skull. He forced pitching a Force to protect it from a Thoughtseize. Andrew created the game plan that could win, played it, and outdrew the Jund player, which, as we just stated, is something that the Jund player has to fade when he creates that game state, and then still won, thanks to some questionable things, maybe some oversights, maybe some tunnel vision. Even if Andrew did the line that I suggested at the time, he's not guaranteed to win.
Absolutely not, because there is a Punishing Fire with Grove of the Burn Wolves there.
Right, and Jund does get to draw a card every turn as well.
Yeah.
That is a game rule.
Yeah,
that happens.
That has to occur.
Yes. And Jund does have some powerful spells in it, and could easily have then outdrawn Esper from that point. But you gotta say, instead of being completely dead, he would have been slightly favored.
Yeah. I'm inclined to agree. Either way, we're going to take a look at the sideboards here. I know that Michael is going to be on the draw this game as he is up 1, but I do have his deck list in front of me, and I think we can certainly expect a 4th Bloodbraid Elf to come in here. He has 3 in his main and 1 in his sideboard, so that'll join the party. Other things that may join us, however, we could see an Ancient Grudge coming in, one of those to make Stoneforge Mystic a little bit worse.
Yep, likely.
3 Pyroblast, 3 copies of Duress, 3 copies of Chains of Mephistopheles.
Wow.
A card I thought I would never be able to pronounce, but I have learned a thing or two in my day. And then 2 copies of Nile Spellbomb as well. Now, Spellbomb I don't really love here. Pyroblast is the interesting one to me here, AJ, where you're playing against this deck. Pyroblast in combination with Bloodbraid Elf, that we call that a Nombo.
Yes.
In the business.
I actually talked about this with Glenn last round.
I was not privy to that conversation.
Exactly what you just talked about. Jund boarded in Pyroblast against the Stoneblade deck, and drew it, and wasn't that good, and then he died, and if he hit it with a Cascade, it would have been dead, because the only blue permanent that was ever in play was a Geist, which you can't target.
So I think that we are on the same page here.
Yes.
As far as Pyroblast looking good in theory, but not playing very well in practice.
Well, almost all of the Esper Stoneblade's best cards aren't even blue.
Yes.
Hitting a Jace is nice, but you can actually answer Jace with like a hasty creature and some burn. You have Punishing Fire, you have Bloodbraid Elves. It's not like Jace is the best card against you.
And Jace was very easily dispatched that game we just watched. It had to unsummon a Deathrite Shaman. and then Punishing Fire came back, it offed it, and that's part of the reason that this deck was built to be played in the first place, is that Bloodbraid Elf does such a nice job of answering Jace the Mindstalker, which we've seen over many years now.
Yes, precisely. And the other cards that you're really threatened by can't be Pyroblast. You have the discard. You have Batterskull, Jit, Swords to Plowshares, Stoneforge Mystic. These are all the best cards against Jund, and you'll notice a theme among them, Cedric. Unpyroblastable.
Yes, none of them are the worst color in Magic. None of them are blue. You are correct.
So from the other side, against Jund, I really like boarding out all of my Force of Wills. They're just no good. Can't 2-for-1 yourself against a deck that's designed to 2-for-1 you a bunch. He has a Supreme Verdict, some Geists, which are pretty nice. Liliana really the only threat there. But if you can get, you know, a Stoneforge or a Snapcaster in play, or maybe use a discard spell to get rid of the Liliana into your Geist of St. Traff, then it's quite a big threat. Engineered Explosives as another sort of Wrath type effect. Detention Sphere, there's an interesting one, because it is a removal spell, but it gets Abrupt Decayed. Not quite sure about that one.
Yeah, that one can backfire pretty badly.
Yes, for sure. So a couple of options. But really, I just want to make sure that my Force of Wills are gone. I don't think they're good here at all.
I think that was, you know, the one thing that's kind of changed in Legacy over the past couple of months, and, you know, moving forward to almost a year here, is that Force of Will was this card that everyone held in high regard, and understandably so.
Yes.
It is the kind of card that does keep this format together and not let these combo decks run rampant. But boarding it out is something that has really taken a while to become, you know, accepted and be commonplace
Yes.
now. And when you're playing against these decks that have him to Torak and are trying to 2-for-1 you, Force of Will is not at its best, and it's certainly not at its best in the Jund matchup, where, you know, the cards that you're trying to counter, it's like you don't want them in play, but you don't want to use 2 cards to kill them either. You know?
Right.
It's not like you want to, like, if someone were to play a Dark Confidant, and let's say Dark Confidant was a 2-3, you don't want to go like, all right, shock it twice. You know,
Right.
that would suck.
Yes.
No one would enjoy that. You'd rather be playing like Searing Spear to take care of it and just kill outright. Yeah. So, you know, that's kind of the way you have to look at it. Is, you know, Force of Will, you're like, I don't want a Dark Confidant resolve. I guess I'll shock it twice with Force of Will and a blue card. But that sucks.
Yeah.
Because you have to use 2 cards to do that.
And 2 of your best cards. Right?
Yeah,
Like
because your other card's blue, so it's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's interesting to see kind of the transition of people starting to realize that, you know, Force of Will, as good as it is a card that, you know, you might want to sideboard for your combo matchups.
Or only play 3, maybe even only 2.
Yeah. Or, you know, it's not illegal to sideboard that card out.
Yeah.
It's not a game rule violation.
There's no game rule against it. So, some lands. Some more lands. No 1-drop from Jund, no discard spell, no Deathrite Shaman. Stoneforge Mystic.
It's a good card.
The Stoneblades.
That, my friend, is a good Magic card.
Sure
And
is.
I think we are going to see Mr. Batterskull.
Indeed.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a treat. Dee, 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 dee. I don't know the lyrics. I wish I did, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know who the song's by. I feel kind of out of the loop. I wish I knew.
It's also Bring Me a Dream, not Bring Me a Treat. Because he's the Sandman, he brings you to sleep.
Look, man, you're stepping over the line here.
I'm sorry.
For my entire life, I thought it was Bring Me a Treat. And that's kind of how I want it to stay. As we see Abrupt Decay take out that Stoneforge Mystic.
Absolutely important. I mean, the Jund deck has a lot of removal, but they have to have it. If the Batterskull gets cheated into play, it's just too much value, too much tempo, too much value.
Too much everything. Because we're going to see another Stoneforge Mystic here, and this is probably going to search up the Umezawa's Jite.
Yes. This is an example of the 2-for-1 deck getting 2-for-1. You have to have the removal spell for the Stoneforge Mystic, but they still get a card.
Yeah, the removal spell does not make him discard the card that they searched for, so Umezawa's Jite and Batterskull will be in Andrew's hand after this, and again, Stoneforge Mystic is going to be demanding an answer.
As we said before, the Punishing Fire, you know, if you have a Punishing Fire, you don't have to worry about it ever. Ooh, and that looks like what he just drew. But, you know, if they have to use, like, Lightning Bolt or Abrupt Decay, then that's a lot more damaging.
So here is Punishing Fire to take care of that Stoneforge Mystic.
And
you see Wasteland here from Andrew.
I also see a Geist of St. Traff.
That was the card I was going to bring up as well. That's the scary one.
Yes.
And that is a card that Andrew has 2 copies of in his sideboard, and they are in his deck, and he does have a Mishra's Factory to be able to play that, or he can elect to just play his third Stoneforge
His third
Mystic.
Stoneforge Mystic right off the top. I mean, I like leading with Mystic here because... Whoa. You almost played the wrong card there. X is 2, Sunburst is 1. Engineered explosives, go. The third Stoneforge Mystic, no search. The reason that I like this is Edict Protection against Liliana the Veiled. Gotta protect that Geist. And looks like Liliana just drawn from Michael.
So from the future, or?
Yeah.
I'm a little confused here. What's going on?
I'm a genius.
As we are going to see Liliana the Veil go down to... It's going up.
Going
Okay.
up.
Now, this was the question I was actually going to ask, because you're going to see both players discard here. If it should go down to 1 to take care of Stoneforge Mystic, or if it should go up to 4, because if it goes down to 1, the Mishra's Factory can take care of the rest of that their Liliana the Veil.
Right, but it's just another example of a 1-for-1 or 1-for-2 on the Stoneforge Mystic. Now, Stoneforge Mystic in play. I mean, Liliana's, scary and all, but if Andrew wanted, he could just put a Batterskull into play.
And you do see that Andrew does draw a Lingering Souls as well, so he has plenty of choices to make between activating Stoneforge Mystic for Batterskull, cast Lingering Souls, maybe cast Geist's Entraft, but any way you look at it, this ride's about to get a little bit bumpy here for Michael Bryant.
Absolutely. Lingering Souls, actually pretty comical against Liliana the Veil. Makes it look a little dumb. But I think that Batterskull's the line, and so does Andrew. I like it.
So Michael's going to draw a card. And he's going to cast Sudden Shock on the Stoneforge Mystic.
Unbelievable.
A complete and utter blowout. But I can't imagine that's going to be the case here.
Leading with... No. I was going to say him to Torok, but...
This game, I mean, you do see he does have Hymn to Torok in his hand. This game is going to be very tough. Now he's activating the Liliana the Veil, and I like this to start the turn.
Yes.
Forcing action from Andrew to activate that. And he is going to activate that. And we are going to probably see Batterskull come into play here.
Batterskull.
And there it is. Germ token incoming.
Stoneforge Mystic has done his duty. He can go away.
And now you're going to see him to Torak.
Him. Not actually the best against this board or Andrew's hand.
Yeah, if you're Michael right now, you're really hoping to hit that Geist's Entraft.
Yeah, well, I mean, this goes to show why you just have to accept the 1-for-2.
Yep.
Kill the Stoneforge Mystic. Getting Batterskull into play for 2 mana is just too good.
And there you see he discards Source of Plowshares and Lingering Souls. So that him, of the cards he could hit, I think that was the least impactful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Source of Plowshares, no target right now. Lingering Souls, no drawback.
Yeah.
Absolutely free. And you see that he does draw a Polluted Delta here, so he could even play and equip an Umazawa's Jite if he wanted to.
I have to imagine this is just Landgeist.
With Karak, we'll see what land he drew. He might have, Polluted Delta, so he could have Karakas available. Search for a Tundra, cast it, have the Karakas up.
What are you Karakasing?
Can you Karakas Geist's Entraft?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, just in case.
Okay.
Just have it available.
Okay.
That's all. I was hoping I wasn't.
No, you're right. You're right. It's just, we know the deck list, and that Geist's Entraft is safe. But I guess Andrew doesn't know that?
Yeah.
So.
Better safe than sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what if like a bonfire comes off the top or something?
You never know.
Yeah.
It's Legacy. You never know.
Bonfire.
Literally any card in Magic history.
Bonfire in the same deck as Bloodbird Elf's probably not ideal, but hey, it's Legacy. Again, anything can happen. So I think leaving that Karakas up just in case.
For sure.
Life from the Loam, and Dredgy Poos. There's Pyroblast number 1, Pyroblast number 2, and Bloodbird Elf. I couldn't have drawn that up any better, I don't think.
Well, Dredge and cast Life from the Loam. Not the most impressive turn facing down this board.
Now we are going to see a Life from the Loam here, and this is essentially just taking a turn off if you're Michael. If you're casting Life from the Loam, he's going to get back a Wasteland.
Just a Wasteland.
And now you're going to see Dark Confidant come into play.
And I mean, it's theoretically going to try and trade with Geist.
But we both know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because Geist doesn't have to attack. There's no clause that says it has to attack.
And GP. Actually, Drew Geist, I was going to say, he might actually just trade off here and play another Geist.
Yeah, he could actually be content doing that. He could also play a little more conservative, play Umezawa Shite, equip it to the Batter Skull, and that's what we're going to see.
Just attack with that.
And just move in with that.
Dark Confidant basically forced to chump since it's just going to die for a Jit counter anyway.
Yep. But he looked like he is going to take 4 damage. Andrew is going to gain 4, and he's going to take care of that Dark Confidant right now, I would assume.
Yes.
Down goes the die. Counter takes care of the Dark Confidant and passes back to Michael saying, I dare you to beat me now.
This is a fairly dominant board position, I have to say.
This is what we call a very good draw from the Esper Stoneblade deck. It did a little bit of everything this game, and you see the power level of this deck, which is very high.
Liliana.
Going down.
Sack this Geist because I got another.
Yep. Geist goes bye-bye.
He also has the waste. One play that I was looking to see if it was going to come up was if the Germ was killed and Geist was the only threat left, and Michael gets a Liliana and tries to edict the Geist, Andrew could have activated the Mishra's Factory in response, chosen to sacrifice that. Wasteland turns that off, but, you know, just, once again, small interactions of the cards in Legacy.
Yeah, you're just taking a look at things. You're going to see Wasteland take care of Caracas here. Maybe trying to bait him into bouncing that Geist Saint Trath, but that does not work. And Michael's going to pack it up here as he is very far behind and there is no coming back. So Andrew Tenjum does win game number 2 with Esper Stoneblade, and we're going to move on to a final game 3 to see which one of these two competitors is going to make the top 8.
Ooh, I forgot they were playing for top 8.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like round 8.
It doesn't.
It does not, because you know it is only 6:46 our time. It is early in the day, and you know we've gone.
The night is young,
yeah,
and so are we.
That's right.
Oh, let us ride into the night. I don't know what I'm doing.
The night is young and so are we is lyrics from some horrible pop song I listen to.
Is it?
I'm not sure which one it is because I listen to so much bad pop music, but you know, it's pretty cliche. Probably a Kesha tune. That's Kesha with a $, in case you were wondering, AJ.
How do you spell that?
That is KE$HA.
Thank you.
Not a problem. That's why I'm here. I might not know your witty references from Adult Swim and books that I should have read like Ender's Game, but you can't.
Almost all of my references have been from like old movies, like classic movies, or like British TV, not obscure, but you know, British TV shows.
So you have to understand.
So obscure to us.
You understand who you're working
with.
Or
like video games. I made a lot of video game references.
Okay.
Made a couple like Pokemon references. Made that Final Fantasy X reference.
Yep.
You know, you've been on a couple of them.
I've been trying to keep up, but you know, if you throw a good basketball reference out there, maybe a
that's not happening. I
understand. Perhaps a Britney Spears or Kesha reference.
Yes.
In sync, I'm very knowledgeable on.
We're different people, Cedric.
Are you sure?
I do enjoy that I can pepper in these references, and you're like, well, that was kind of a weird way to phrase that, but let's just power on, and then my Twitter blows up. They're just like, yeah, AJ, nerd cred, you know. It's pretty awesome. I bask in it.
So hey, we are who we are.
Yes.
That's a Kesha song. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I missed that one.
Bang.
And you get to bask in that.
That felt good.
That's
how
I feel like all the time.
As we do see both players shuffling up here. If you guys are just joining us, we are here in Kansas City. Cedric Phillips, AJ Soccer. You guys can't tweet with us and tell me how awesome Kesha is, which is not very, but I still listen to her anyway. At SCG Live. Or, of course, hashtag SCGKC. Glenn not very happy with me bashing on Kesha, but the truth is the truth, Glenn. She's horrible. She is not very talented, but her songs are catchy, so I'll keep listening to them.
I was about to say, she's also crazy.
A little?
I don't want to, trash talk another human being or,
Well, too late for that. You might as well keep going.
Yeah, I guess.
Glenn approves of her insanity levels. That's good. And we have a judge's ruling here. Our director will allow it.
It's been allowed.
So we do see both players shuffling up here. Jun versus Esper Stoneblade, something that's become a little bit more traditional here in Legacy over the past couple of months, as we are going to see Andrew lay out his 7 cards. Michael will be on the play.
It's a matchup that you would have seen a ton about 2 months ago.
Yeah, Denver was all over the place.
Exactly. But we are, they're still around. They're still quite good. Powerful cards work well together.
We might end up seeing more of it in the near future as well.
Yeah, for sure. And these guys are doing quite well this tournament, playing for top 8 here.
All right, here's Bloodstained Mire.
Jund with, once again, no 1-drop, no discard spell, no Deathrite Shaman. Stoneblade, no discard spell of their own.
You see a Brainstorm in his hand, Jace the Mind Sculptor, Swords of Plowshares, Geist of St. Traft. You're going to see a Grove of the Burn Willows and a Sacrifice here by Michael of the Bloodstained Mire.
Fairly good hand for Esper Stoneblade. The Swords to Plowshares key here for either the Dark Confidant or Tarmogoyf that gets played here. You need to untap and use your mana to. Does he have another fetch land? He does. The Pluto Delta. If you so choose, use your mana to Brainstorm and fetch. If you even need to, which Andrew's hand is good enough that it looks like he might not have to. And then he curves out pretty nicely from there, Geist into Jace or, you know, any potential Stoneforge Mystics plus the Brainstorm. There's a
Myriad of plays.
Field lands and spells, nice curve, powerful cards. It's a good draw.
Lands and spells, that must be nice.
Yeah, I wonder what that's like.
No idea.
We're not bitter at all.
Spell Snare is the draw here for Andrew.
Spell Snare also very good.
Pluto Delta and will pass the turn back. You
Fetch the basic?
Yeah, he did fetch a basic here. Does not want to get hit by a Wasteland, as we are going to see Michael maybe lead out with a discard spell here. And there is a Duress.
The timing on this, you're on the play, you want to play it on turn 1. He didn't have it or chose not to play it, but now Andrew gets to Brainstorm in response and hide the goodies.
He's got to sack a fetch land to do it, which is a minor inconvenience.
It is, but, I mean, the fetch land is only good because you have the Brainstorm. If you're using the Brainstorm, the fetch land's no longer really necessary.
Sure.
He could also just let this resolve because his hand is so good. But no, it looks like he is going to Brainstorm, and he gets to fetch another basic island. I like this play. This is certainly the intuitive line. There are certain times where you're like, my hand is so good that I don't have to use this Brainstorm because it's going to take something, and then I'm still going to have plays for the next few turns. Then the Brainstorm is going to be ancestral rather than just protect my best cards. Because it is still a 1-for-1. You're 1-for-1ing with the Brainstorm, and the Duress is a 1-for-1. Right? It's all about managing quality. It's card selection at this point.
You see the cards that were drawn were Batterskull, Stoneforge Mystic, and Lingering Souls. So he can get a little creative with how he puts his cards back here if he wants to, put Batterskull on the very bottom, and then Stoneforge Mystic after that to negate some of the things that happen here. But he's gonna.
Well, you can just show him the Stoneforge Mystic. The rest doesn't hit that one.
That's correct. But he does elect to keep the Batterskull in his hand, so that's going to go there. And you see a Academy Ruins there, along with Karakas, Stoneforge Mystic,
Academy Ruins.
Geist of St. Traft. So Academy Ruins says, "Hey man, you got it.
Yeah.
Take that Batterskull. I don't need it now anyway." And the most important card he did hide there, of course, is Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Yes.
But the other thing to keep in mind as well is that he did hide Jace the Mind Sculptor, but he only does have 1 blue mana right now. Like the other cards in his hand, the other lands in his hand, are Karakas and Academy Ruins. So we don't see another blue. I don't think he hid away another blue either.
No.
And now we have a Tarmogoyf.
Tarmogoyf. It looks like a pretty normal game here, but it's developing in a way where Stoneblade's got to be pretty comfortable. Jund needs to either apply more pressure or have more card advantage here, like more him to Torox or have Dark Confidant survive, or Liliana Cascade, these types of big advantageous plays, rather than just kind of 1-for-1ing the opponent and letting him hit land drops and cast spells. It's not where you want to be.
So now we are going to see a Stoneforge Mystic here, probably going to search out the Umzawa Jite, and there that is, and get a nice little shuffle away, but Jace is, Jace the card that he drew for the turn?
No.
So Jace is bye-bye.
The card that he hid and chose to draw was Spell Snare, which he is now holding up.
Gotcha. So Umzawa Jite goes to the hand, Michael's going to cut the deck, he's going to untap, he's going to draw. Let's see what he finds for the turn. As he has he does not have to, I want to say he doesn't have to fear Batterskull.
Whatever this is? Oh, okay, I was going to say, Punishing Fire is like the only thing that I would consider not snaring. But like, there's so many, like, the Hymns, the Dark Confidants, the Tarmogoyf, so many things to snare there.
Yeah, lots of cards.
Punishing Fire, not the best card, especially when the Grove is already on the table.
And now Wasteland. Ugh.
That was the turn that Michael needed.
Yeah, that was a brutal turn. With how good Andrew's hand is and how things were looking to shape up, that was a huge turn by Michael. Tarmogoyf coming in for a ton of damage. Geist of St. Traff looking very pedestrian now.
Absolutely. Kill the Stoneforge Mystic basically for free with Grove of the Burning Willows in play. Kill your Academy Ruins so that you don't have access to the Batter Skull. You are short, you have less mana, total mana to operate with, and hit you for 5. That was nice.
So now we see Andrew draws a Mirsh's Factory, and that looks like what he's going to play. He's a little unsure of himself as he does decide to go with the Caracas, and now Geist of St. Traff is going to join play. So one of the things that is available to him now, as you're going to see Andrew gain a life, Michael's going to get back his Punishing Fire, is that, not this turn, but the following turn, he can actually do a little bit of shenanigans with blocking, Tarmogoyf, Geist of St. Traff, returning with Caracas. A super slow way to go about the game, but it is something that is available to him.
Yes.
And now you see, oh boy.
Wow, the preemptive Jit.
So now Umezawa Shite for Michael. He's going to equip that Tarmogoyf and suit up and get in. Now, of course, he can't kill that Geist of St. Traff, but who cares?
Yeah, it is a very favorable race, especially when you're cutting off Andrew's access to his own Jite, thanks to the Legend rule, as it is so called. Detention Sphere is awesome, though. He needed an answer to Tarmogoyf, and he needed it soon. Not only does that pretty much negate the value of the Jite, at least until you can cast your own and Legend rule it, it also lets the Geist get in a bunch. You don't have to worry about racing. I mean, any Swords to Plowshares type effect would have been great there, but Detention Sphere works just as well, as long as Michael doesn't have the Abrupt Decay.
Yes. And that is a fear that Andrew does have to have right now. Nothing he can do about it, of course, as Abrupt Decay is uncounterable. So we'll see what Michael does draw this turn. He's doing a nice job of hiding his hand from everybody.
Yes. Andrew, should be stated, only access to 1 blue mana, so to cast that Detention Sphere, he can't hold up the Spell Snare. He does have Caracas just in case a Liliana the Veil threatens his Geist of St. Traff, but that does not happen. Michael has no play. That Detention Sphere draw really turned the tides after one of the turns that Jund absolutely needed to get into the game, and then Esper Stoneblade answers right back. One good turn deserves another, begets another.
So now we have Abrupt Decay here on the Detention Sphere. So that's going to go bye-bye. Tarmogoyf's going to come back into play.
And threaten to ambush the Geist. I mentioned this when we were talking about sideboarding. Detention Sphere, good. Not that good against the Abrupt Decay.
A little bit risky, as you see the Angel Token come into play. And we will get a life update for you guys really quickly, because I believe Michael Bryant did take 6 last turn for Geist of St. Traff, so we'll make sure our life totals are correct here.
Yeah, he lets his Geist die. He doesn't feel like he has time to Caracas it back. Likely going to Legend rule the Umezawa's Jite and then play the Lingering Souls. He's got to start chumping.
Yep. So we see he is going to tap mana, and is he going to lead out with Lingering Souls?
That's the wrong order to do those.
Well, he's just going to play and flash it back. That's a little bit surprising here, because it just makes the Umezawa's Jite like a real card where it shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Yeah, I mean, right now he why is Michael not getting his Punishing Fire back? All right.
So a little bit surprising.
Yep. Choosing
players maybe feeling the pressure of playing for top 8.
Maybe choosing to not get back.
And what a monstrous dress, because now Umezawa Shite is gone and both of Andrew's equipment are gone.
Wow.
Along with that Academy Ruin. So is this is straight out of Kamigawa block now, my friend. This is Umezawa Shite dominating a game state.
Man, I wish that Andrew had answered it when he could, because then the game would have sort of normalized and we'd see a couple more turns. But as it stands, Michael Bryant with a very imposing threat. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Just when you think
Swords,
it's going one man's way.
Swords to wow shares.
Now we're going to see Mirsh's Factory. He's not afraid. It'll get in there.
Yeah.
Oh, Punishing Fire.
I believe that is the second copy, no? Or maybe he got it back at some point that I wasn't paying attention. I don't know, I feel like the turn where Andrew made a bunch of Lingering Souls, the Punishing Fire could have done some work there, But, Instead, we are going to see an attack.
Are we going to see a pump? Well, we didn't give him the opportunity to pump.
Yeah, not gonna try and get that extra counter off of Jit. Just going to plow it right away. Michael Bryant gaining 6 life from that extremely large Tomograph going away. And now, Uncle Bryant basically out of threat except for a him to Torok. I mean, spell snare. Don't give him the satisfaction, counter it! Aw.
But now
It's punishing fire time.
This is exactly what we talked about. This is exactly where the Jund deck wants to be.
Yes.
All the resources are exhausted, and the Jund deck is very, very slightly ahead, and now it's a top decking game.
It has access to punishing fire. But he did get it back. He's shortcutting it very quickly.
Gotcha.
Is why I was a little confused. He's got access to punishing fires. He's got the Jit in play, and he has a life advantage. Exactly like Jund is designed to do. Exactly like Michael Bryant wrote it up.
He's going to play a Marsh Flats, and he can now finally, if he does draw a Jason Mind Sculptor, he can actually cast it. We'll see Punishing Fire go upstairs, and we're going to see the slow burn. As they say, the slow knife is the one that cuts the deepest.
I know that's a really bad song reference.
That's not a bad song reference. It's a line from the third Batman, where
I thought it was like a Blink-182
where
song.
Miranda Kerr stabs Batman and then gives him the speech.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a way better reference than I was giving you credit for.
Actually, it's one of the worst lines in the movie.
I know, but I still apologize. Batman is much more nerd cred than
You're saying I have nerd cred?
you do now.
Yes! Finally!
Dark Confidant. Boom. Something to suit up the Jit. If it's not answered right away, then it will absolutely bury Andrew. And Andrew didn't have an answer. He did draw a card for his turn.
You see the hand of Stoneforge Mystic, Counterspell, and a fetch land. Normally, you would be very happy to draw Stoneforge Mystic, as you saw Andrew draw 3 in the last game and be incredibly pleased with it, but all the equipments are gone, and as we said earlier...
All being both.
All being both are gone, and the Academy Lunes was blown up by Wasteland. So,
Yep. And here is Jund doing what Jund does.
finally, Bob Maher Jr. will draw an extra card, and that's going to lead to even more cards, and things are beginning to snowball here. Sylvan
Yep.
Library will go to Michael's hand. He'll draw a card for his draw step as well.
He's got Punish Fire Loop. He's got GT to equip to a creature that keeps drawing him cards.
Boom.
This game was very back and forth.
Yep.
Extremely swingy. A lot of decisions on both sides. A lot of huge top decks from both sides. I mean, as we've said, that is the type of game that Jund likes to play.
This is its wheelhouse.
Absolutely.
This is Happy Happy Land.
Happy Land has been called. Deathrite Shaman.
Deathrite Shaman, you're going to see a Marsh Flag get sacrificed here. Andrew Groy's probably going to search for a blue source and thin his deck. Yep, and Tundra it is.
Looking for answers. Just the one Supreme Verdict in the sideboard.
And it looks like we may see a counterspell on the Deathrite Shaman, so we do. We see
Okay.
counterspell take care of that.
So now we have an Engineered Explosives is an awesome draw, killing both the Dark Confidant and the GT. GT probably should have pumped last turn. You know, if he has a way to kill the Dark Confidant, he would have used it before you drew an extra card. Get the 2 more damage in while you can. Now we're just going to play a Squire. And if... Yeah, this is game. I was going to say, but Engineered Explosives killing both the Dark Confidant and the Umezawa's GT. Ooh, whoa.
Needs to reveal the Dark Confidant. He's playing very hastily because he knows that he's got the game over.
Yes.
And you can see it in his eyes. He forgot to reveal the Dark Confidant.
We're going to let it slide.
Yeah, which is something...
I'm going to allow it,
Yeah, which is something that clearly, we would have gone back, we would have fixed that, but, he can...